So a lot of people have been asking me how I'm making these masks. So I'm going to show you, because the video that I found that taught me how to make it has disappeared from the internet, and I liked it a lot, and it seems simpler than a lot of what is out there. So focus on my fabric. This is fabric that I had in my house, and this is fabric that my mom actually sent to me from her friend. So I'm very fortunate to have people donating to this project. Basically, you want to have 2 squares that are preferably different fabrics, so that way the person wearing the mask will know which side was facing their mouth and which side was facing out. You want it to be 9 inches by 8 inches, and then you need 4 elastics, roughly 10 inches long. You can also do it with 2 elastics, and that does save that material because there is an elastic shortage right now, but I find that the 4 elastics are more comfortable, so I'm gonna do it with 4 as long as I can. So basically, you take your pins, you take your first square, and you want to pin your fabric to your elastic with the bead head facing out, just so that way it's easier when you're actually on the machine to know where your bead head is so you don't break your needle. And you do that with all 4 elastics. Now, I don't really know how to cut and paste and do all this fancy photo editing, so you guys are just gonna have to bear with me on a one-shot, one-take video. So here's hoping I don't mess up. Okay, so you get all 4 pieces pinned to the corners, going inward, and then now you want to be extra careful while you're sewing that one of these doesn't randomly stray and get caught in your needle, because that would be bad, and then you'd have to pull it out and use a seam ripper, and we all know how angry I get when I have to use a seam ripper. So you place your second piece on top, making sure also that the fabric that you want on the outside is what you pinned should be on top, and then the fabric for the second piece, the outside fabric would also go inside, so the 2 outside pieces should be facing each other. And you want to line it up with the 9 inches together and the 8 inches together, and then just pin it so it doesn't move and it stays in place. And again, you want to make sure that you can see your pin heads while you are doing this, because if you run over a pin head, you break your needle, and that's not fun. Okay, so now what you do is you sew just about 1 inch from the edge on the top. So one of the 8-inch sides, preferably the one that's going to be your top, the part that goes over your nose, that would be, you start for about 1 inch and you go, and then you sew along the 3 sides, and then you go back up about 1 inch, because you want to make sure that you leave an opening to, 1, flip it in right side out, and 2, because if you are giving it to somebody who is in the medical profession, they're going to want to put a filter inside it, so you want to leave that pocket for them to do that. So we're going to go over to my machine, and we are going to start sewing. So bear with me while I sew. And you want to make sure that you're catching both sides of the fabric while you're sewing. It's about to get loud. I apologize in advance. You want to get to where your elastic is and turn. Most of you already know how to use a sewing machine, so I'm not going to go and explain it. But yeah, so just bear with me while I sew. Okay, so now once you have it all sewn, I'll put it over here so you can see. You want to have the 3 sides and then a little bit on each side up here. It doesn't have to be perfectly even, meaning you could if you're a perfectionist. I'm not really right now because I'm trying to do a lot in a short amount of time. As long as all the seams are closed, that's basically all that's important. And now you're going to take it, and just like if you were making a pillow, you're going to flip it right side out. And you can use the 4 different little elastics to kind of pull those corners out. So now it should look like this. And then what you do from here is you are going to make 3 pleats going up towards your opening. So, and if it opens a little here, that's fine because you're going to sew it again later. So you're going to just make 3 little pleats. Going upward. So again, this should be 8 inches across and this should be 9 inches. You're going to make your pleats. This fabric's a little easier to pleat because it has the horizontal line, so I can get a grasp as to where I'm supposed to be folding. Other fabrics and solid fabrics are not, so you might have to pin it over if you over pin or under pin. And then so let me fold again so that there's a little bit of space at the top, and this is just so that it fits nicely over the mask wearer's face. Just pin on both sides. Again, I'm pinning like this so that way when I sew it, I can sew it with the pins in it because the needles typically can run over the metal. They can't run over the heads. So just, whoop. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to stitch from where our opening starts. And you could just go around, down, or over, and up. And then in a little bit on that side. And then you just stitch it to make a hem here. So I will show you that. And then we're basically done. Make sure the thread in the top needle, because that's every sewer's nightmare when there's not. Now you want to be careful. One thing I will say about, sewing machines is when there's a lot of fabric and it's how it's folded and pleated like that, it's thicker. So if you go too fast, you will break your needle. Or if you go over the pin while you're going too fast, you could break your needle. So be very careful of that. And also, again, just be careful that the elastics aren't like tucked under because you want them to be out. And then just go. Where you're not going. So then after you sew all the way around, you want to just stitch these parts closed so that you have a nice little hem, and then cut all your loose strings, and then you're done. snip all your loose strings. Take the pins out. And voila! You have your mask.